I played one of the coolest games I have played in a while. One of the coolest games in a while. This is round 2 of the Maryland Open. I'm playing the 2-day section, so this round it's game in 45 plus 30 seconds per move. So one of the longer time controls I play, and this is a no engine recap until the very end of this video. I am playing Joshua Brandel. This is 3 years since his last tournament. I only found that out after the tournament, and in this game I applied the pressure, and he eventually cracked. Let's hop right in. Played e4, best by test. He played e6, the French, but then he played c5. And I was like, oh. So if I play d5, I'm getting into, this is a Benoni. This is a Benoni, and I don't play d4. But I know this is not bad. Like, I know this is definitely good for white. But the fact that he did this move order suggests to me that he's familiar with it, and I'm not familiar with it. So even though objectively it is probably best to push d5, I didn't want to do it. I played knight c3, and it transposed into a closed Sicilian where black takes on d4 and then kicks my queen back. So this is like a Magna Sicilian. I play this a lot. I'm very familiar with this. And then he plays a6, which I love this move order because I know that I can play queen g3 here, and I actually had a really great game, really fun game against FIDE master Andrew Samuelson in this move order. And after queen g3, the idea is I'm eyeing g7 and making it a bit tough for black to develop. If black goes knight f6, I can go e5, defended by my queen, and if the knight goes to the edge of the board, something like this could happen, and you get really wacky and fun positions where I move my queen like 1, 2, 3, 4 times in the first 10 moves. So really cool stuff. So you kind of, and of course if the bishop moves, then I take on g7. So you're really testing black here. So in my game against Andrew Samuelson, he played b5 and tried to develop the queen side. But in this game, my opponent Joshua played queen b6, and I've never seen this move, but it makes a lot of sense. You know, I'm eyeing g7, he's eyeing b2, and one of the moves that came to mind was like, okay, well maybe I should play a3 and then bishop b3 or bishop d2 and then play, you know, it's a poison pawn. And I actually thought about like, okay, well what cases can I make this pawn on b2 poisonous to take? But then, you know, it doesn't really work. Sacrificing the b-pawn doesn't really work because my rook is undefended. If my queen was still on d1, you know, sacrificing this b-pawn could be easier to make it work. You know, like for example, like, you know, there's a g6 and like bishop d2 here. If my rook was defended with my queen on d1, the queen would be trapped. Well, actually, the queen can go this way, I guess. Well, actually, it can't go this way. Like if queen here, then here. I guess it still works. Oh my gosh. Anyways, I'm getting off track. Point is, it's tough when the queen's not on d1 defending the rook. So I thought about playing a3, but I was like, that's unprincipled. I need to develop my pieces, play knight f3, and so still, if knight f6, I still plan to play e5 most likely. So he plays d6, you know, controlling this e5 square, and I play bishop d3. I'm just continuing development. I could play bishop c4, but I don't like how knight a5 comes with tempo sometimes, or knight e5. If there are 2 knights that can hit e5, this bishop gets hit with tempo. And with the bishop on d3, you know, if the queen moves, b5 doesn't hit it with tempo. A lot of times, this light square bishop gets beat around a little bit, you know, in a position like this where black has played a6 and e6, you know, b5 and d5 can be a little bit annoying to deal with. So bishop d3 I think is great because also if I play e5, it also targets the king side as well if he does end up castling king side. He plays knight f6, I just castle, and I think, did I consider any other moves? I mean, I thought about e5, but I thought that was dumb because it's takes, and bishop d6, and he has no problems in this position at all. Black is probably slightly better, if not just equal. Because I thought about e5, but it's dumb. So I just castle. He goes knight d7. Because really, what is the issue with black's position? Black needs to finish developing and castle. But right now, black is having a very difficult time to do that. And does black really want to commit to a move like g6? Like, getting the Swiss cheese set up? It might be okay, but it might not. Black really has to weigh their options here. And if they do go g6 to go bishop g7, well, now the d6 pawn hangs. So black really doesn't want to waste a lot of time, but time is really, resource they don't even have in the first place. So he plays knight d7, so controlling the e5 square even more. But he still hasn't addressed the issues of his lack of development. I play a4. Here, his argument is that he has enough time to do a knight reroute because I have nothing else. If I ever move this bishop to e3, attacking the queen, after queen takes, knight a4, I actually thought about this as an option. Queen a3. Well, what did I get for it? What did I get for sacrificing that pawn? Not much. Black is very defensive. I'm more developed, but black is not overextended. It's hard to find the right targets here. Maybe this is still good, but in this case, my knight is like trapped, really. It is trapped in this specific case. So I would have to move my bishop back or move my knight back. And if I'm sacrificing a pawn, I want to go forward in the position, not back. So not very good for me at all. So his argument that he has enough time to do a knight maneuver like knight f6 to knight d7 to control e5. However, I find a really knight's resource, and that is a4. And one is that it prevents future queenside pawn expansion by Josh, but it also maybe I want to play rook a3. Maybe I want to play rook a4 after I push the pawn to a5, and maybe this the knight and bishop it helps support the knight and bishop in the future, and if he plays knight e5, which is what happened in the game. He put the other knight on e5. Well, now, I'm going to take first, so I don't want to play a5 first because this comes with check, and if I don't want to double my pawns, I have to play queen takes, and then I get hit with tempo. I mean, not right now, but I'm going to get hit with tempo with knight e5, and plus I want to maybe play f4 at some point in the future too, so I don't want my queen in front of my f pawn. So that's why I take the knight first and then play a5. So now I went a4 and a5, and now the queen, there's no good way for it to stay on the b file to attack the b pawn. So now my bishop is free to move. So he moves his queen. If he goes to b4, it may look like okay, well you're kind of eyeing the a5 pawn, you're eyeing the b2 pawn, but actually rook a3 forces the queen back, and then I get to force the queen back anyways. So it's actually a very powerful maneuver here. That's rook a4 possibility. So after a5 goes queen c6, and now I play bishop e3, just the finishing development. I thought this is where I'm very interested in what the engine says, because I thought about playing this move f4, but I just wasn't entirely sure. I would be happy if he took my bishop, because I might take back with the pawn and just have a big white center, BWC, and maybe play bishop e3 behind it, or maybe I just take with the queen as well. This also doesn't look that bad, but I thought I just want to complete development, when my opponent's underdeveloped. But in this scenario, it looks like my pawns are going to be breaking through quicker, so I kind of like this idea of of playing f4, forcing his bishop to move before my dark square bishop moves, because in a scenario like this, well, actually, if I took with a pawn, for example, he still can't move his bishop, and if he goes bishop d7, then I could play f5 maybe. Really trying to open apart the center here, and if he takes, well, now the center is open, and even if you castle, it's a little bit slicey dicey, not very nicey. Maybe I'm going to go knight a4 and knight b6, and maybe bishop e3 anyways. It doesn't look that bad at all. Maybe even bishop e3 right now, and then go rook c1. It's still definitely got to be better for white. I think the way I did it is also not bad. The bishop e3, it can't be a bad move. He plays knight c4, attacking my bishop, attacking my pawn on a5. Whoa. Attacking my pawn on a5, and attacking my pawn on b2. So I just take, chop. But the one downside of this for him is that, okay, look at how this position has transformed on move 14. Move 14, I'm castled. I got my queen, bishop, knight out. Let's go back to move 10. Move 10, he's got two knights out. But now, move 14, He's got nothing out. The only thing he's got is his queen. White is definitely better. White is definitely pressing on this alone. The development advantage. Here, I'm not sure if this was the best move. I played bishop f4, and my argument was you don't really have a good way to deal with this move. This move is really annoying. It's a calm, quiet move, but it's really annoying because what does he want? He wants to develop his bishops and castle either queenside or kingside. I actually thought he might castle queenside because it was really difficult to castle kingside, but tomato, tomato. I don't really know what he's gonna do. So, but this really, I'm really tickling the position. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? If you go queen c6, I might go rook d1, which kind of transposes to what happened in the game. If you play e5, I could, after queen c6, I forget what I was thinking about. I might also, I could even consider sacrificing this e4 pawn because, you're so underdeveloped. I would love for you to take this pawn for me to fully get into your position, but I don't think you're going to do that. So I played bishop f4 just to see what he would respond with. He ended up playing e5, and I don't know if I did it the right way. Like maybe I should have played rook fd1 first. Maybe that's the way I need to tickle the position. But I wasn't really sure. Like he could play bishop d7, and now if I play bishop f4. He could play e5 and back, and then he can castle. But I could go bishop a7, which I thought was really powerful. But I'm still not really sure what the best way to proceed is. I think probably rook fd1 is probably better than bishop f4 because now I committed to this bishop f4 move, and now he's able to play bishop e6. So if I played rook d1 first. If I played rook d1 first, and then played bishop d7, and then I played bishop f4, and then he played e5, well, he already committed his bishop to d7 and not e6, so I kind of won a tempo in that sense. But anyways, I played rook fd1. In this position, I was kind of also considering rook a4, but I wasn't really sure if I wanted to commit to that yet, because maybe I want to put my knight on a4 and then my knight on b6, and I would really love, please. Well, first I'm threatening a fork, right, on the rook and queen, but I really want him to take this pawn. But the thing is, after knight b6, rook d8, rook here, and then if queen takes, I don't see the knockout. He is defending the position. The position is being defended here. White is probably still better here because I'm going to be taking this pawn on b7, but I really want to get my other pieces in the game first. Before I start doing crazy stuff and start sacrificing material, I should try to maximize my other pieces first. So let me put my rook on the open file, and in some cases, I'm going to try to play a knight on d5, and if bishop takes and rook takes, hopefully in the situation where this e4 pawn isn't hanging, I am facing this backwards pawn, so equal material, same colored bishop endgame, but he's got positional weaknesses on b7 and d6, two backward pawns, two weaknesses, so that should be winning in some endgame. So kind of preparing for the endgame. If you're able to navigate this middle game, this endgame is also going to be extremely tough to defend. So I play rook a4, he plays queen c6, I play rook b4, and in this scenario, he touched his queen. So at this point, he had less time. Oh, he had maybe 4 minutes. 4 minutes on the clock, and this position is very tough to play. How are you going to finish development? Is a really big question here, and I've been really attacking, and I have the initiative, and so I definitely feel like there was pressure. So he played queen c7 though, and the moment he released it. He realized it, but I had my head turned to the game to the right of me, so I think he thought I might have not seen him release the queen, but also he defended this far, he navigated all this madness so far, and to lose the game with a skewer like bishop e6, that's really tough. That's really tough. So he actually tried to move it to queen c8, but then I mentioned, I saw you release it on queen c7, so you have to move to c7. So it's tough for him, but yeah. So he played a queen c6. He took, and I thought about playing queen takes e5, and I thought because I'm taking advantage of this pin, but I thought this is probably unnecessary. I don't have to do this. I'm going to throw in rook b6 first, and after queen c5, I'm going to play rook takes b7, and the idea is I'm allowing him to take on a5 because I'm forcing his queen away from the defense of his entire position. Here, my pawn's defended by my rook, and the queen has no path for the pawn and the knight work together to force the queen away from the center to the edge of the board on a3. And yeah, my knight is a little bit loose, but it's not that big of a deal because now I'm going to play queen e3. I originally thought about going queen takes e5. I thought this was really powerful. Like, oh man, I'm getting in here. But then actually, king c8, unpinning the pawn from the king and attacking the rook at the same time. I believe it might be equal in the sense that white has so much activity that even despite losing a rook, white might be okay, but more than likely than not, this would be losing for white. I'd be down a full rook here, or I have to sacrifice my queen. But tomato, that's losing. So I went queen e3 instead, which is much better, because now after king c8, I can meet it with queen a7, and he resigned. There's no possible way to prevent checkmate here. If you go king d8 to block the check with the bishop, I'm just going to give some more checks and checkmate anyways. If you take the knight here, well, it's just simply checkmate. So not much you can do here. So he resigned after queen a7. And I enter round 3 with 2 out of 2 with 7 or 8 different other people. So I'm probably playing down once again for round 3, but hopefully I can win that game and be in good contention for the prize money entering round 4 and 5. And yeah, so that was a really fun game. I can't believe it only lasted 26 moves in hindsight, but it is what it is. So I'm gonna end it there, and I will hit the game review, and I'll see you guys in this one. Peace.